Hello darlings, welcome to the Curious Mind of Raquel Carter. I'm so happy that you're here. I am your favorite mermaid mystic. So today's broadcast is going to be all about the realization that I had. And as many of you know, we had the eclipse last night. I thought that my little mermaid message in a bottle would be something that you would want to hear about because I thought that it was so profound. Let me rewind. Okay, so back in a couple years ago when Jeffrey, Sean and I first moved in with my parents, I was really, obviously I was still into a law of assumption, law of attraction and all of that, but I had not really fine-tuned or knew about how to solidify my manifestations as clearly as I do now, which is me creating new belief systems, right? Subconsciously through sleeping, which I'm a massive advocate for. And so I was learning all about abundance and how to create new beliefs around abundance. Well, as many of you know, I, in this last year, was really working on my abandonment issue. And so that began slowly but surely with my chickens and allowing them out of the coop. And then it really took full force when I was trying to release the feral kittens that I had rescued from one of the feral mothers that's currently Miss Molly Mipsy, the one that I'm writing the little storybook about. And what I was recognizing more and more is that, I was releasing that abandonment. And something that occurred to me, I have really been really working on this, the abandonment and releasing that detachment and that energy from that. And so what happened was, this morning I woke up and had sort of like an epiphany. So I pulled a bit of tarot cards on myself, which I rarely ever do in years and years. Rarely ever pull tarot or spread on myself. I just don't do it. And I think I'm not different than many other tarot or empathic readers because I see things in pictures and I hear sounds. So I'm not a psychic or anything of that nature, but I'm a more empathic, right, tarot. It was really concerning me around this eclipse. I probably worked myself up into a tizzy, a Miss Tizzy Withers, and I decided to pull a spread on myself. And so what I got from the cards, because we know the cards never lie, right, is that I recognized that I had severe attachment issues around abandonment, which in my mind's eye, I was thinking, no, that's absolutely, I feel that I've really progressed, and I really feel as though I've gotten over that, the abandonment thing, because I've let the kittens out during the daytime hours, and at nighttime I've just retrieved them and bring them back into the cottage, and then they sleep throughout the night, and then the next day I let them out again, right? So all is done and well, right? Toot toot toot. But is that not the way life never works that way, does it, loves? And so anyway, so I set my intentions for the eclipse last night, right? It was in Pisces 8th house, Libra 1st house. And so I knew that it was really had loads. I like that word, really, and loads. Those are my favorite words, right? But I knew that it had much to do because of it being in Libra's 1st house, that it was going to be all about balancing things, right? So in my relationships and things of that nature. So I was thinking, oh, is it going to kick my ass? I don't think it will. I think I'll be perfectly fine. But unbeknownst to me, but I had really such a lovely experience this morning. So I woke up about 4:30 and realized that my detachment and the reason that I would not finish projects or in my relationships, like how I would just abandon friendships or abandon a conversation if I didn't like how it was going, but the main thing was abandoning projects, because this was my big thing about like me not ever finishing Scarlet Rose Cottage. And I know that my husband, my dear beloved betrothed, has often said to me things about, and obviously my husband he's Libra, so this was really affecting him as well. And so we were having a little prattle about it. And he said, yeah, you constantly, you neglect or you abandon projects, and you have too many projects going on. And that's exactly what the card said to me, is that I have too many. Like, I have no lack of imagination, no lack of projects, and my imagination getting away with me, right? Because I'm very, very imaginative. Pisces, we're the most in the zodiac, the most imaginative. So I can always create scenarios and think of creative endeavors and all of that, right? I never struggle with that, or nor have I ever felt shame in creating such beautiful things in my fairy tale life. However, I never realized that the abandonment issue that I was working through, that little bit of the rest of my abandonment, like where it started with the kittens, right, and the feral. And if you've watched my stories and you've watched my YouTube channel previous for this build-up, I've spoken about it on Instagram, and I've also spoken about it on these other videos about abandonment. I didn't recognize that same situation, just as it does with abundance. Like if you're working through abundance, like you're thinking money in reference to abundance has nothing to do with like an abundance, like learning how to appreciate the abundance of laundry that you get to wash, or abundance of leaves that you get to rake, or abundance of water that you've got to drink, an abundance of, this or that or whatever. That I knew logically, so I knew intellectually that literally was the same as when you're speaking about abundance with reference to money. But I never equated abandonment to the equation of why I abandon other projects, or abandon friendships, or abandon relationships, or abandon a job that I didn't like, just I would abandon it. And that means I would just completely drop it. And I thought, I've got to do a video on this, because how many women struggle with this as well, not recognizing that their abandonment is the reason that you think, oh, well, it's just procrastination. And it's never really about what we think it is about, is it, loves? No, it's actually about the fact that me recognizing and realizing through this entire year with these feral kittens, and the abandonment that I had with these kittens was in reference also to me abandoning like Scarlet Rose Cottage, and wanting to literally move and abandon where I live right now, wanting to start again, because that was my mode of operation, and how I normally in the past would always way that I healed or escaped. Oh, my right ear is ringing very, very loudly, like extremely loudly. So I know I'm on the right curve, okay? Is that I had no idea that my abandonment was also in reference to projects, this project and this project. And the last week, I had really begun to say, I want to be a vessel for Spirit, the great creator. I really want to recognize where my issues are at hand, that I really want to work through and have those dismissed, and not have those issues any longer, because I'm really growing and expanding, and I want to become a better person and all of that, right? And so then I received that epiphany this morning, and that download of Spirit saying, first of all, I was very, very much instructed from that tarot spread read that I must detach from outcomes. I need to finish projects that I have started, and that I will be highly, highly blessed abundantly and with many other things. That when I begin to close out those cycles because they have been healed and there is no longer issues there in regards to the abandonment, that many more things would come in and solidify staying in my life, and I would sustain those things. And that meant having a balanced nature to me. And as you know, my darling dear mermaid hearts, I've really been talking to you loads lately about obviously what's going on in my life, but feeling as though it resonates with many, many women as well that are very much like me. And so I just thought that that would be something that I should bring to you today, that to recognize that it's not necessarily that you procrastinate, because obviously we know procrastination is a beautiful thing. It's not a negative thing, because intuitively there is a reason why we are doing these things, these procrastination moments in our lives, but also to understand this perhaps may be one of the other reasons that we do not have balance. And when I began next week sharing all about my planner, my agenda planner, agenda kits that I've been working on mindset and time management for over 30 years, I've just never made the system. I've never made the planner guide and all of that, because it wasn't meant to be at that time. And now I feel as though this is what Spirit needed me to understand to more clearly make such a beautiful planner set that will be so beneficial for women, because it's all a balancing act. And me being a bygone mermaid, you know that I'm very much, very, very clear and feel that it is imperative to always remain balanced in our lives, because it really creates quite a chaos when any person, not just women, but any person does not feel balanced and your nervous system is off. And say, for example, you're spending loads of extra time doing DIY projects, but you're neglecting spending time with your firstborn child. Or you're spending loads of time on work and there's not equal balance of recreation, or doing, your artistry that you abandoned 5 years ago and you haven't pulled out your paints. I'm very much wanting you to understand how much I care about you and how much I want you to know that you go through and understand you, and that together we're going to do this and have a whale of a time. Maybe you might want to think about that perhaps you might have some projects that you've never finished. And I'll leave you on this note because I thought that it was quite lovely. I've been reading a book and it's all about the home and moving on and understanding where we have these, we're incapable of moving past certain areas or things. It's just talking about the energy being in our belongings and our homes. And I heard something and it just resonated so deeply with me, and I thought I would leave it with you. And it said, as women and artists and authors and mothers and homemakers, why are we so quick to deem our homes temporary when they are the essence of everything that we are, and where we spend all of our time, where we nurture our children, where we nurture relationships, where we create our lives? And so we might want to begin thinking about creating that house of belonging and how important it is. It does not matter that yours might be like a little shed that I'm turning into a cottage. It does not matter how long you live there. Maybe I only live in Scarlet Rose Cottage for 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years or for the rest of my life. It does not matter. And so I'm going to finish this project, and I know you're going to love it. And I hope that you'll stay with me on this voyage as well, because I think it's going to be really, really fun. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and subscribe, like, and give me a thumbs up if you so desire. And as always, I'm most affably yours till my next swim. Cheers, darlings.